Don't look at me!" She screamed, clutching the torn cloth tighter against her face as if the very sight of her would poison the world. Her voice cracked, trembling like a broken violin string, raw with shame and fear. But he had already seen something, just a glimpse, that made his breath catch in his throat and his knees nearly give way. What was hidden beneath that cloth was more than a scar. It was a story, a wound deeper than flesh, and that moment would change both of their lives forever. Friends, before I take you into this journey, if you believe every soul deserves kindness, if you believe that stories like this need to be heard, then please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because the story you're about to witness isn't just about pain. It's about courage, love, and the power to rise when the world tries to bury you. Her name was Eliza. Once she had been the kind of girl people stopped to admire. She was radiant, her laughter lighting up every room, her dreams stretched wide like the sky. But one night, a night she never spoke about, changed everything. A fire. The walls of her family's home swallowed by flames. She had dragged her little brother out, saving his life, but the collapsing beams caught her. By the time neighbors pulled her free, her once flawless face bore deep burns. She survived, but the girl who loved mirrors, who painted her lips in the color of roses, who danced under the moonlight, was gone. Since then, Eliza wrapped her face in scarves and cloths, leaving only her eyes uncovered. She avoided people, avoided sunlight, avoided herself. Even in her own home she hid, terrified of pity, disgust, and rejection. The whispers had followed her for years. "That's the girl from the fire, poor thing. She's ruined now." To her, love was a cruel word, beauty a dream long dead. And then came Daniel. He wasn't supposed to notice her. He wasn't supposed to care. He was the new neighbor who had moved into the quiet countryside cottage down the road. Daniel wasn't like the others. He had scars of his own, though his weren't on his skin but buried in his heart. He had lost his wife in a car crash years before, and since then, silence had been his companion. But when he saw Eliza by the well one morning, drawing water with trembling hands, something in her eyes, those eyes that had once seen fire and still survived, pulled him in. He greeted her. She turned away. He tried again the next day, bringing fresh bread from the market. Again, she refused to look at him. "Please," she whispered once, voice shaking, "don't look at me, don't." But Daniel didn't leave. He saw her pain not as something ugly, but as a story begging to be understood. Day after day, he left small kindnesses at her door, a basket of apples, wood for her fire, seeds for her garden. He didn't ask for her face, he asked for her time. Slowly, painfully, she began to speak with him. First with the cloth still wrapped, then with a hood, her eyes darting nervously. She told him about her brother, how she raised him alone after her parents had passed, how she lived each day in fear that he might be ashamed of her too. She told him about the fire, about the night that carved her skin into something unrecognizable. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with gold, Daniel asked softly, "Eliza, why do you hide from me, from everyone? I don't see the monster you think you are." Her chest tightened. She shook her head violently. "You don't understand! If you see me, if you really see me, you'll run like the rest. No one stays." Tears soaked the cloth as her voice cracked. "Please, don't look at me!" But Daniel stepped closer, his voice steady. "I've lived with ghosts for too long, Eliza. I don't need perfect faces. I need truth. And whatever's under there, it won't change the kindness I see in your soul." Her hands trembled. The cloth slipped, just for a second, and what he saw nearly killed him. Not because it was hideous, not because it was unbearable, but because of the pain carved into her skin. Pain she carried every waking moment, believing it made her unworthy of love. Daniel gasped, not in horror, but in heartbreak. His knees buckled because he finally understood the weight she carried. He didn't flinch, didn't step back. Instead, with tears streaming down his face, he whispered, "Eliza, you're still here. You're alive, and that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." For the first time in years, she didn't run. For the first time, she let someone see her, not the scars, but the woman behind them. And in his eyes, she didn't see pity. She saw recognition. She saw love. Days turned into weeks. Daniel and Eliza worked together, rebuilding what fire had taken from her life. He helped her plant flowers around her cottage. She taught him how to bake her mother's bread recipe. He reminded her that scars weren't chains but proof of survival. And when her little brother came home from school one day, seeing Daniel laughing with his sister, he smiled wider than ever before. Because for the first time, he knew his sister wasn't alone anymore. Eliza never fully lost her scars, but she lost the shame. She began to walk in the village again, her head held higher, no longer hiding. People noticed her courage, her resilience, her light, and standing beside her was Daniel. Proof that true love isn't about flawless beauty, but about seeing someone's soul when they can't even see it themselves. So if you've ever felt broken, if you've ever believed your scars make you unworthy, remember Eliza. Remember that survival itself is beauty, and remember that the right people will never look away. Friends, if this story touched your heart, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their scars are not the end of their story, but the beginning of their strength. Because sometimes, what nearly kills us becomes the reason we truly learn to live. The camera opens on a dark, rainy night. The sound of thunder rolls across the sky, each strike lighting up the lonely cottage on the edge of the village. Inside, a woman sits by the fire, clutching a torn piece of cloth over her face. Her hands tremble as though she's holding back the world itself. Her breathing is uneven, her shoulders quaking under the weight of fear. Eliza, the whisper of her own name, feels foreign. The flames flicker in her eyes as tears stream down, soaking into the cloth that shields her scars. Don't look at me, her mind screams, no one must ever see. But across the field another figure moves, a man carrying a lantern. His steps are steady, the glow following him as he approaches the well at the edge of her home. His name is Daniel, a stranger in this village, a man who came here to escape his past. But fate, in its strange cruelty, had decided their broken pieces would cross. The next morning, the sun peeks through the clouds and Eliza goes to draw water. Her little brother has gone to school, leaving her alone. She adjusts the cloth, making sure not a single corner of her face shows. But just as she pulls the rope, a voice startles her. Good morning, her heart pounds. She freezes. Slowly, she turns her head and there he is, Daniel, standing with a basket of fresh bread. His smile is soft, not forced, not curious. Just kind. I thought you might like some, he says. She shakes her head, turning away. No. Please, leave me alone. But Daniel doesn't move. He places the basket on the stone ledge of the well and says gently, then I'll just leave it here. Take it if you'd like. He walks away without another word. Eliza's hands clutch the rope tighter. People never left so easily. Usually they stared, they whispered, they pitied. But this man didn't. That night, she watches from her window as Daniel chops wood in front of his cottage. His movements are slow, deliberate, haunted. There's something in the way he pauses between swings, as if each strike is against something invisible. For the first time in years, Eliza isn't thinking about her own scars. She wonders what his might be. Days pass. Every morning Daniel greets her. Sometimes with bread, sometimes with fruit, sometimes with nothing but a smile. Every time she refuses to meet his eyes. Every time she begs him silently not to look. Finally, one afternoon, she whispers, Why? Why do you keep coming back? Don't you see? I don't want anyone near me. Daniel looks at her, not at the cloth, but at the tears hidden in her voice. Because I know what it feels like to be alone. Her chest tightens. She wants to ask, but her throat closes. He leaves before she can say another word. Later that night, her brother comes home from school. He's grown used to his sister's covered face, though sometimes she catches the flicker of sadness in his eyes when other children laugh at him for it. As they eat in silence, he says softly, That man, the one who brings bread. He doesn't look at you like the others do. Her hand freezes mid-air. He doesn't know. If he saw, he'd leave too. Her brother sighs. Not everyone runs, Eliza, but she shakes her head. They always do. The camera fades to another dawn. Eliza is in the garden, pulling weeds with her scarf tight against her skin. Daniel approaches slowly, holding a small packet of flower seeds. These are for you, he says. I don't want them. He kneels beside her anyway, planting one seed in the soil. Then I'll plant them here. Someday. When they grow, maybe you'll smile. Her breath catches, her hands frozen in the dirt. No one had spoken to her like this in years. Not as if she was broken, not as if she was cursed, but as if she mattered. Still, the fear is louder than the kindness. Her heart screams, don't trust him. Don't let him see. Don't let him in. One evening, as the orange glow of sunset fills the air, Daniel lingers at her gate. His eyes are steady, his voice softer than ever. Eliza, why do you hide from me? From everyone? Her body stiffens. She shakes her head violently. You don't understand. If you saw me, if you really saw me, you'd never come back. No one stays. Tears gather in her eyes, threatening to fall. Please, she begs, clutching the cloth tighter. Don't look at me! The screen fades to black, to be continued.